The fact that my mom got a MacArthur wasn't surprising to me. In fact, I felt that she deserved it. I think that the notion of genius in my mind is a little bit absurd, but I think if one is going to use that whole construct, I think that she is a genius.
Artist Joan Snyder received a MacArthur Fellowship a few years ago, so the word genius comes up a lot these days. She's been a prolific painter and printmaker throughout her career, but until now, there has never been a retrospective exhibition of her prints. The Zimmerli Museum at Rutgers University has filled the gap with an expansive new show called Dancing with the Dark.
I didn't grow up in an artistic family at all. It was a working class, sort of lower middle class family in Highland Park, New Jersey. I don't know, for some reason we never went to museums, concerts. I mean, this is not something that my family ever did. But I was also very anxious as a kid. Part of the anxiety was thinking that I had to live the way everybody else lived and not knowing there was another way to live. So I really had never even been to a museum before I started painting. And I started painting as a senior in college, at Douglas College. I was a sociology major. And I decided I wanted to paint. I have no idea why or what happened or how that happened. This is where my first studio was, right on the Raritan River. When I graduated from college, I rented a studio right on the Raritan River. Highland Park is across the river. I absolutely loved it, and I did my very earliest paintings there, plus the woodcut of Emily that is in the show, in the print show. You know, it was kind of a brave thing of me to do, I guess, to rent a studio on the river, not knowing anything. I mean, I just got my degree in sociology and thought I wanted to be a painter. So I rented a studio, got a bunch of part-time jobs, and painted.
You had no training?
I had absolutely no. The only thing I had was one course, that one painting course as a senior, but absolutely no training. Nor did I want training. I mean, I really knew that there was something coming out of me that I just wanted to come out, you know, without too much, anybody messing around with it too much, you know. That's me.
Yeah, what do you see in that picture?
I see this very serious young artist with a teacher named Billy Pritchard. I was painting away, you know, doing not very good still lifes and things like that. And one day I was painting a picture of my brother and sister-in-law, and he looked at the painting and he said to me, "How do you like Yavolensky?" And I said, "I don't know who Yavolensky is." He dragged me up to the slide room and he showed me lots of German expressionist paintings, including one by Yavolensky that was very much like the one I was painting. That was kind of the beginning of the excitement, because I suddenly began to learn about German expressionism and Russian expressionism and how much it had to do with my own roots. And it really was very exciting to me, a defining moment in my life. I would say I'm an expressionist painter. I mean, I actually don't like to be labeled, but you definitely can call me an expressionist painter. What it means to me is that the paintings aren't minimalist, they're not cool. I mean, I can say what they're not. They're not cool, they're not, you know, they definitely are about feelings and emotions. In this weather, in this storm, it's from music by Mahler, Kinderlieder Toten. I just like that quote, in this weather, in this storm. Sort of conjures up lots of things. When my mother died, I went into my studio every day for a year. Now, my mother was kind of difficult woman. I did not have an easy time with her in any way. or in most ways. But when she died, what surprised me was that I went into my studio every day for 1 year. Every day I put on Mozart's Great Mass, and I wept my heart out for about an hour every day for 1 year. It was shocking to me. Well, in the early 70s, the women's art movement got underway, and I was very much a part of it. But even before that, in the late 60s, I was making paintings in my loft on Mulberry Street that, for me, were about the female anatomy, or about women's bodies. That's when I first began, and it wasn't a conscious idea that, you know, oh, there's a women's movement, I'll make women's paintings. This is what I was working on in the late 60s.
So maybe let's try this, but with more transparency. Okay.
When you're making a print, you're in the print shop all day. You really have to go in there having a decent idea. Do I want it to be an etching? Do I want it to be a lithograph? Do I want it to be a woodblock? Do I want to use digital photography? And now I'm using all of them in one print. I can safely say that I drive my printmakers crazy. Yeah, I mean, I do.
We had probably, at some point, 40 or 50 separate layers. Each one was an element in the print.
Right.
I can go ahead.
Right.
The most important thing that happened in the papermaking area with Joan Snyder is that she's never used paper pulp as a medium before.
Well, this stuff is beautiful.
And she just picked up the first bucket of color and she just kept making them. Beautifully layering in ways that I've not seen anybody else work.
Oh, this is Molly in Orlando. This was taken about many years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Molly is a little baby when I took her to California to a show I had to do.
There's a painting called Mommy Why, which I believe was based on me being a really small child and asking why all the time, and just sort of that experience of motherhood, having to answer to this little being.
Maggie is my partner, and we've been together for over 22 or 23 years. And then before that I was married and could easily say my husband. But when you have a gay partner, there really are no, we don't have a vocabulary, you know, everybody calls their mate something different. So my Maggie is all about the different words that people use to call their mates. And then I crossed all these words out because none of them seemed sufficient or strong enough. And then I came up with my Maggie at the bottom.
I was a full-time judge in the New York courts. Living with an artist, it's not living with an artist, it's living with Joan, so it's wonderful. Yeah.
We always say that in the kitchen. My work is a print that is actually an etching and woodblock. That print is a print that lists all the symbols and imagery that I use. There's totems and blossoms, marks. And then at the bottom it says, my work has always been absolutely faithful to me. It really means exactly what it says, which is that I've been so lucky. I mean, I've never had something called work blocks. I suffer in life, but not necessarily in the studio. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm pretty neurotic in a lot of ways, but in the studio, I'm just the happiest I can be in the studio.